blood came from the kidneys.
So can they just talk?
Okay, demonstrate that had anything to do with the fucking vaccine.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was the vaccine.
Oh, Shashi was too.
One of the two.
You're making a big assumption.
Of course, you can do that.
I don't have to accept it, though.
Right. But the reality is nothing was wrong before I got COVID.
The fuck are my cigarettes?
Hello?
So I got so scared, I called up the hospital. I spoke to the main nurse, and she told me that.
Not evidence.
Well, here's what she said. She said that it was because of the COVID, because it had affected my kidney.
Still not evidence. What is it supposed to be evidence of, by the way? What is it supposed to be evidence of?
See, Rico, the guy can't even form complete sentences.
Bro,
He's full R-word.
Me too.
Check your dresser. Yeah, I can't even see that room.
Check your bags.
You're not sitting
And the house name is Convince Me G0D exists. He's full R word. Full D word.
If we predict where your cigarettes are, it's evidence for God.
Hey. Oh, okay. I have cigarettes.
We found them.
The cigarette dilemma has been solved. I have cigarettes.
Joshua must have prayed for you, Donald.
I mean,
No.
Can you demonstrate that your prayers found my cigarettes?
No, I didn't pray. I was thinking about, where did you find them at?
Where I left them.
They're on the table.
Why would I do that? That's silly. That's fucking silly.
I'm hurting for you right now. What are you chasing it with?
What does that mean?
Chasing it with? What else are you consuming other than the Everclear, around the Everclear, to harshen the Everclear?
Ice. Just
What kind of
ice.
demon shit is that? Oh, this ice with my Everclear. Gosh,
Amazing.
I'd probably throw up. I swear, I haven't drank in 2 years. I'd probably throw up if I tried to do an Everclear.
Well, I'm not you. Now am I? Because I paint my nails. You have never...
No, I never do that. Well, yeah, we talked about this. I said if the government gave me $50,000 a month, I'd paint the hell out of my nails, and I'd make it fucking cool, and we'd all paint our nails. They're asking the wrong motherfuckers.
I don't require $50,000 a year.
Clear coat. Just use the clear coat.
Yes, I do that.
I said $50,000 a month. What's his name? What's that queer? Jeffree Star. That Jeffree Star motherfucker probably makes millions of dollars a month. Dude.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you've seen Jeffree Star. You probably don't know who he is, but I know you've seen.
You've seen Lenny Lizard from the UK?
But I do paint my
I don't know.
nails. I think
Yeah, why does the government need to pay people if you could just find people who's willing to save for free?
Hey, one for free.
Great that.
Once you hit a tipping point of McDonald willing to say, yeah, I kind of paint my nails sometimes. Oh, you better
I
just,
think
you better
it's
just use
fucking
nail tech.
amazing. No, I think it's amazing to paint your nails, you piece of shit.
Why do I gotta be a piece of shit?
Because you think it's not amazing to paint your nails.
Oh,
It is amazing to paint your nails, you piece of shit.
My daughter can paint her nails when she gets old enough. I agree.
Well, so can your son, piece of shit.
I would probably try to take off the nail polish.
Why?
The nail polish.
Why? Why?
Why? Because I don't know. What are we?
You don't know. You don't fucking know why you would do a thing, which makes it fucking irrational. You would irrationally remove a thing that makes a guy feel better. Why would you?
Feminizing. I don't know. It's kind of feminine for me.
But it makes him feel better.
I don't know. It hurts my stomach.
Why?
Hey, alligator, you said Mr.
That's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid that because it hurts your stomach, you think your son should.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, if I'm the only flat earther in my whole house. See,
No fucking shit.
Have you ever wondered why?
No. I know. I know what's wrong with me. I don't have to tell you. You guys should know what's wrong with me at this.
Oh my god! It's amazing that you know that it's wrong with you and not with others. That's amazing. The first, the beginning of what is it? The beginning of healing is accepting that you are wrong, right?
No. You guys know what's wrong with me. I don't have a tolerance for that bullshit like you guys do.
I don't have a tolerance for bullshit. I don't have that. You can't demonstrate that I do.
Right now?
Green
I don't.
with
I
purple
don't.
sparkles. With purple sparkles.
Would HLC ever paint his nails? Ever?
Hey,
See him? Would you
those people do not exist. No, that's a false.
Alligator thinks Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are lizards.
That's still false.
Spider-Man? The Amazing Spider-Man?
It's still false. Batman.
she says
Say,
A lie.
again, I'm comfortable with calling thoughts the same thing as the chemicals
But
producing it.
that's a lie. I agree that thoughts are chemicals, but what you want to do is add stuff to that. I agree that thoughts are chemicals. I agree with that. But what you want to do is add things to that.
No, I'm talking. Muhammad's the one that disagrees and says it's not meant.
Yeah, you want to add things to consciousness. It's fucked up. Very fucked up.
Muhammad is the one that thinks like thoughts exist in some like other world.
I was in the middle of the sentence. I was in the middle of the sentence. You can just
I had my share of
yeah.
was, and
prior to this election, because I did not personally, but
look at
You
an
did?
interview when he was a private citizen in New York, and he was had to trot with going to war with Iran.
But what I'm saying is, did you know that if he won, we were gonna go to war with Iran for sure? Did you know that?
Yes. Not for sure.
I don't think it was a given.
No, he did say he was going to apply maximum pressure.
With Trump's pettiness and his temper, we all knew it was inevitable.
Yeah, but he's being controlled by the Israelis, so you know that it wasn't up to him. It's definitely not shy.
So defaming, or so stupid, or so racist, or so bigoted, or so hateful and prejudiced. You know, do you have anything nice to say about the J words?
Well, I think the reason they're reacting like that is because I am a member of the J word communities, and
you're J word adjacent.
Wait, how many J word communities are there? Naftali, how many J word communities are there, to be sure? Because I don't know how many you're talking about here.
There's the Japanese. There's the youngest. That's a part of psychology.
Which one are you in?
There's
You said there were many. Which ones? Which ones are you talking about?
you know, like the conservative and the reconstructionist and the.
Wait, you consider the logical positives part of the J word group, right? Logical positivist, you get it? Hello?
They're logical, and some of them are also positive.
Is there a difference between a logical positivist and a positivist logicalist?
Oh, I don't know. What do you think?
Ribono Shel Olam, I'm not so sure, but if we're sticking to the topic, Iran, that
Thamad, and then bounce and finish up his dinner with his family before he comes back to the room and like starts it up.
Did who? What? I'm sorry.
Bibi moved on to dessert. He'll be right back. I understand completely.
He left to go have dinner.
He went to go have dessert, like me. Vanilla ice cream with
Oh, I had to do something real quick.
Oh, here he's back on.
That's Richard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I never heard him called Richard. I only heard him called.
What are you asking exactly, Alistair? Because it kind of sounds like you're speaking in riddles to me.
It's Johnny.
Well, if you can tell me what the answer is to the riddle of the Sphinx.
I'm gonna blast you right now. Somebody told me that you're being investigated and can't run for Congress.
I'll get it from Tuna. This is also.
Okay.
So John called out Tuna because Tuna's son is trans, yet he hates trans people. And then I called him out because he hates Muslims, but he lives in Dubai.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not being investigated.
He's the pretentious British guy who lived in New Zealand and now lives in Dubai.
To liberation.
But his son is actually trans, which is kind of fucking wild that he hates trans people.
Well, it's always a projection, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he's definitely at least bi.
And again, when we say projection, we mean that when other people cast disparaging remarks against a people, that's actually them talking about themselves. Hello?
Probably about 90% of the time, 85%.
You love that Jasmine hello, don't you, John?
Hello? No, that's...
That was actually my favorite sort of like language or line.
Yeah, I miss her.
Schmendy. You know what's so funny? Up until she came on this, I always thought a Schmendrick was a guy. Like, but then I spoke to someone who spoke Yiddish like much better than I did, and it's.
What does Schmendrick mean?
It's like
Is it a name?
no, it's like a quality. It's like an adjective. You Schmendrick, like it's like Shlemiel Schlemazel.
The fuck is Schmeasel Schmazel?
Schlemiel is someone who spills something accidentally. Schlemazel is the one who gets it spilled on. Remember?
Isn't
Vern and Shirley? Schlemiel, Schlemazel from Pepper Incorporated. Remember?
Yakov, isn't that Gollum from Lord of the Rings?
Oh shit, it is. Kind of sounds like Gollum. Schmeagle Schwoggle.
Hold on. Or a pathetic sad sack who attempts to do more than they're capable of, rather than a malicious person.
Gotta love Yiddish.
Come in and play those.
John? Yeah.
Rabbanu Shalom. You got to start off the
Hit the goal.
Oh, wait, there you go,
John.
Rabbanu Shalom.
My grandmother was obsessed with. May all your teeth fall out except for one to give you a toothache. That's the Yiddish one. My grandmother was obsessed.
They have such great.
Yeah, she was like, she always thought it was so creative. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did
they're
creative ones.
great.
Earlier today, I looked up some great Talmudic put-downs that are in the Talmud.
My grandmother, my booby, used to say, "Geh kachen lichtig in dein Augen," which means go take a crap, it'll open your eye.
Yeah, my grandma didn't speak Yiddish. She really liked Yiddish curses. She thought they were funny.
This boy speaks Yiddish. Wrap him in the tefillin.
All right, Yakov.
angry like it's a complaint department at the layaway line. Anger is the problem. Anger. If these Iranians in Tehran who have all the rockets and they're still alive and they're fighting, don't they just know that anger is their problem, that they don't have to be angry about anything? They can just let it go. The Ayatollah is dead. The Islamic Republic is crumbling. Why do they have to hang on to their anger? Just let it go. For the sake of the world and peace, let it go.
I know, man. So, I don't know.
Rabbanu Shalom. So Naphtali, you never answered us. What
Who would allow you to crash out and do whatever you want?
What I want to know is, has anyone here ever been brave enough to take liver, chopped liver, or matzah ball and put it on a kichel and eat it as a dessert?
No, Alistair. This version of Judaism you do is a stereotype. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that.
With a nice cup of coffee with whole milk. Kichel. But then they got cheap anymore. I like the long kichel.
I don't know what kickle is.
Yasmin, hopefully you clip.
You don't know what kichel is? It's a sugar cookie. It's an elongated cookie. It's delicious. You put it in your mouth.
Like a long box.
It's not a donut. It's like a dried pastry cookie with sugar on top.
Think about that for a second.
Think about that?
Think about a donut and then make it long.
Think about that.
Are you kinking?
You know?
John.
I asked Norm, what should we do? He said, keep hitting them hard. Hit them hard. Hit them harder.
And what is your position as Chicago mayor going to be?
Well, if you go to John Kitover on Instagram, you can see my first 5 days in office. The first day, I will cut property taxes by mayoral decree and proclamation by 25%. Day one.
There's no free lunch, so where are you going to cut 25?
also going to restrict white people.
Yeah, that's
Getting like,
completely against the 14th Amendment.
I know.
No, it's not. I think you can do that.
Oh, you have to discriminate
Why
against people on
not?
the basis of
The
their
Equal
race.
Protection Clause? No, you
Well, what's the
cannot.
14th Amendment?
Has the Equal Protection Clause.
Yeah.
Oh, what are
You
the
can't
first
discriminate.
14?
$1 compound.
Yo, Michael, what's going on?
Wow.
Wow.
I was
You
just
okay,
I was
okay.
just thinking about how I replaced Elon in your life.
Eli?
Are you trying to
Oh,
get
you know
closer to
What
Michael
happened
enough,
with your
Dolly?
guts?
As your best.
Over your transitions?
Yippee-yay. Wow.
You know, at one point I did think that Michael was a trans man, to be honest.
I think it's crossed all our minds.
Why?
Because you're so
Well,
beta that it's almost like female.
No,
Like you're so astonishingly.
it's a horrible thing to say. No,
About well, I mean,
it's because you're
he
so
is. He's
hyped.
very female coded.
Yeah, if you were to ever fuck pussy, you would probably cry the whole time.
Yes,
I actually do fuck pussy, and I don't cry.
No, I'm sorry.
Would you like to see pictures from my transition?
Yeah, have you had the bottom surgery? Or just the top? Or
No,
both?
the bottom surgery.
Was there even a requirement for a bottom surgery?
You want to see my pussy, Yasmin?
No. I have you muted on my phone.
That's awesome. Does anybody else want to see my pussy?
Yeah, Rebbe does.
Rebby's seen it.
Not touching that.
I'm good. I'm gonna pass. No, send it. Send it to Rebbe.
No, Rebby.
Is that a official term in the community?
Rebby's taken first off, okay? And, yeah, no, it's
I
inappropriate.
do.
Yeah, you know something I don't.
I don't know.
Who's she taken by?
The Lord Jesus Christ.
What?
Kill yourself.
Oh my god.
Michael, are you also trans? I actually did think that as well, initially.
You're bisexual, right?
Did it make you smile to think about that or no?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, you definitely smiled.
No. Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Love.
He's
women
never
with a
fucked,
rich-
never fucked women.
No, that's
Rage, would you
yeah.
ever
But
fuck
then there's one that's never been a what's the term? If you were a C-section, you've never even been through a vagina. That one's platinum and one's gold. I can't remember which is.
One's a gold ticket or something.
Rage, would you ever fuck a trans?
You wouldn't even know,
How
Ray. That was a
excited
talking
my
point
I
for the Association
like-
of Trans
You know
People.
what it? Yeah, you know what it makes me?
like a good old fashioned woman.
Just a box in your mouth.
Yeah.
I like a snatch too. I like to.
Get the fuck out, Michael.
There's
Don't
nothing
need to
that
make
more
a
like
Or they are attracted to that black woman aura.
So stupid.
Please
You need to
help me, Jesus. If Jesus is real, shut him the hell up.
She's stupid. She's stupid.
No, she was talking about you at the university. I don't like being top left, but
You
come on,
acting up.
man. All right, let's move it around. Look, there's something called DNA, brought to you by yours truly. You don't have to engage with someone.
Husband, what happened?
I heard you try. No, but someone was bringing up
came in when you
something.
changed it. That's what happened.
No, we
Yeah, you need to go away.
That's that motherfucker.
It's point, you stupid dummy. I'm a supermodel. You're just jealous that I'm a supermodel.
That's that weird fucker with all the phones.
I'm a supermodel, stupid.
people who are Muslim get offended, but
I don't.
I thought the whole design of that argument is that if he's a final prophet of God, probably that's God's fault.
If the man existed, he had.
When a prophet doesn't necessarily mean that they're
It's
good people.
growing. You gotta do something about
Sure,
it pretty soon.
when a prophet means that
Keep
they
at it till we
have
gotta
some
take
kind of
away from
prophecy,
it.
some kind of understanding of the future.
All right.
And
So, can you demonstrate that God?
no.
No, you can't do that. Can you demonstrate that if God exists, these things would be false? Repeat what I asked you, or no?
You asked me if God exists, does any of this matter?
I observe painting your nails. My subject, I observe you painting your nails and disagree with it.
So, objective reality is a thing that exists, right? But your opinion. But excuse me, your opinion is something that doesn't actually exist.
No, that would.
What you have to do is demonstrate that your opinion can demonstrate that.
If my opinion doesn't exist, that means your opinion doesn't exist, which means your nails should have never been painted.
Well, that's just a false statement.
It's not a false statement.
So would you rather like say a true statement, or would you like to stick with the false statement?
I like to stick with the fact that one,
you're gonna cannot fucking believe that I'm sitting here ignoring age.
Yeah, but
Is it possible?
Yeah, but if you conceive it and believe it, you'll achieve it. So belief.
What the fuck does that mean? Okay, stop talking. Stop. Stop fucking talking. Stop fucking. Is it the case that there are things that you believe in, and there are things that that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
All right, so you think that it's possible for you to believe in something that is not true?
I've done it before.
How have you ever believed in something that
Jesus and this Christ, led the child, and I didn't have any abilities to see beyond it. I didn't have those are the resources yet.
So all you're telling me is that you did not believe. You're not telling me anything about like.
I used to believe it, but
Excuse me, I'm in the middle of a sentence. Stop talking. So you don't think that there is like what I'm asking about is the difference between belief and knowledge. So is it possible for you to believe something that is not true?
Yes.
The fuck you saying? Okay.
When I'm hitting a jackpot.
Can you please define knowledge?
Wisdom shaped by understanding. There's 4 types of knowledge.
So, because you use the word knowledge in the definition of knowledge, so you're. So, please define knowledge. So you're not going to do that?
I was wrong. There's only 3 types of wisdom. Godly wisdom, earthly wisdom,
can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor and define knowledge?
I need to define the word A without using A.
Set yourself.
I've seen that in a movie.
So you just made it up.
Okay, you read the definition and you tell me that that's not wisdom shaped by understanding.
I want you to define knowledge.
Wisdom shaped by understanding.
I don't accept that as a definition. Doesn't make sense as a definition. So, can you define knowledge?
Knowledge is
another way, please.
Knowledge is the awareness, understanding, or information about facts, truth, principles, education, or study.
I don't accept that as a definition.
That was ChatGPT, wasn't it?
That was Chat. No, that was Google. That was Google. That was a Google definition.
I don't care. That's
what
not
other
a
definition would you show me?
I would like for you to tell me what the definition of knowledge is, please.
I put the Google definition of knowledge into the chat.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I did. I put the Google
You're
definition
lying.
of knowledge into the chat.
Okay. As soon as your definition of knowledge appears in the chat, I'll respond to it. Until then, you're fucking lying.
This subjective definition did define knowledge.
Said was not a true statement. It's fucking stupid.
Put the Google definition there. Knowledge is the awareness, understanding, or information about facts, truths, or principles, or skills acquired through experience, education, or study.
Cite your fucking source. Cite your source for that.
It's at Cambridge.
Post it in chat. You won't do that. Post it in chat. Post your definition.
Why wouldn't I do it?
Why haven't you? That's the question. Why have you not done it yet? I mean, you just haven't. This is not a definition. Understanding.
Write them a letter then, Donald.
Excuse me. Understanding of or information about a subject that you get by experience or study, which has nothing to do with what you said. Just so you know.
Is experience you get from study also classified as wisdom?
Define wisdom.
To
Okay.
rationalize
What is a monad?
monad is the ruach.
Demonstration. Can you demonstrate?
I'll say it's slow
Can
because
you?
there's a lot in here.
Hello. Can you demonstrate spirit? Here, please.
Have you ever lost anyone?
Can you demonstrate spirit, please?
Well, if you've never lost anyone, I couldn't demonstrate spirit.
Wait. Can we take a pause there, Donald? How do you define spirit?
Fiction. Demonstrate spirit, please.
All I gotta demonstrate is fiction.
Right. The word ghost in here.
Demonstrate.
Oh my God.
Fucking tired of this shit. But they center themselves.
Oh, can I tell it?
Right.
Just the camouflage right now. Both America and Israel have mutual benefits in your
already inside of Islamic Republic, we see like the biggest fights, even worse than what United States and Israel did with the war. I think this ceasefire is killing IRGC better than war. They want war. They like war.
Yeah, Poria, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
So you're saying there's internal fighting. Who is this internal fighting happening between in Iran?
You're in the Matrix, Poria.
Go to Pakistan is going to deal with JD Vance. Like, he's going to sell all of these rats out. And nobody, I don't know, trusts each other. So they went 87 members of, the government to Pakistan to just make sure, like, nobody is trying to rat on the other one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Pepe. BB's here and he's going to be chill, but we're just mostly probably being so we control the Iranians.
Yeah, so BB, I already told him.
Yeah, he explained. I don't have a problem with you at all. Yeah, Yasmin was running her mouth, and Pepe was being chill. He just came up and said, "Hey, what's up?" And she started crashing out. And we were having like a really productive conversation.
Persian making trouble?
Oh yeah. Hey, Poria, hit the up arrow and then hit invite and click everybody. Iranians with a green dot.
What?
Hey, Puria, are you guys still waiting for Trump, BB, and Reza Pahlavi to tell you to come out of your homes?
I do believe right now is not the time for that. They're making everybody ready for the ground invasion. As their Navy SEALs, coming to the Middle East, as we're following, they need some time to get their troops settled in the Middle East to get ready for taking the southern stripes, or I don't know, the islands.
So how many American
promise. I'm not trying to be like fucking lunatic. I'm trying to be realistic.
No, I get what
They're
you're saying.
ready.
In the
They're
U.S.,
already talked
the
about.
U.S. has been telling them to like stay indoors, not do anything yet. So they are basically following the U.S.'s direction, which obviously Pallavi, he's he's echoing the same sentiment. So they're not why they're not doing anything, to be honest.
Partners that they got killed in the massacre, they went outside again. I personally think that with this massacre that happened, IRGC made people their lives that people will not going to come out within like 10 next years, right? I personally thought that people were never going to go back to the street. They're scared as shit, right? I don't know, a few other cities. It was like, you could count it with 5 fingers, one hand, but still they went outside. And now, still Donald Trump and Crown Prince is telling them to just stay inside. Don't do anything till we tell you. That's the only reason I'm seeing like people inside of your.
What at this point is playing, in my opinion, is playing to try to kind of want the U.S. To come in and cause a lot of damage, and when the IRGC is on one leg, that perhaps then you can do your revolt, but you have to wait for that to happen.
Well, I thought
I would say this though.
With every opinion.
Yeah. But I would say this. So they're like, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, they can hold it captive, not because they don't have a fucking navy anymore. They can hold it captive with not really anything. They can try to attack one of the ships, but they know what will happen. If they attack one of our naval vessels, or the UK's or the French's, I mean, they can dish it back times 100. They can't. It's a losing proposition for them.
Who?
Personally, I think United States is winning, bro. This ceasefire was needed, and it's even better than the war itself. Islamic Republic doesn't. They like war to be happen. They little children gets killed, or I don't know. Right? But the only thing that makes them like a lot of fucking fairy fantasy, I don't know, fake fugazi deals. Dan, who's the boss, who's telling you what to do, which is Trump, realistically. And the other percentage they don't like that realistic group like Ghalibaf or that fucking guy Zarif or Rouhani, those kind of people. Which they're against the war. They're saying like we have to make a negotiation with the United States. We should end the war. But the vast majority of Islamic supporters, like Islamic Republic supporters, they're telling that Ghali for nothing. You become this person.
So basically, the hardliners are shitting on everybody else that don't have the same stand, that are not worshippers of Khomeini.
I think, in this 40 days, Islamic Republic did great at propaganda with the global leftists around the world, especially the United States. They turned public opinion into a fucked up narrative that is not even understandable. Like, you cannot understand.
I don't think they even did it. I don't even think it was.
losing.
But I don't think it was Iran that was even doing it. I think it was more the. I'm going to be quite frank here. The Arabs that are doing it, and you have people that otherwise hate fucking Iran. They hate Shia Muslims. They Iran to win because they fucking hate Israel more. And it's.
That's just your projection, Pepe.
Huh?
I said that's your projection. It's your opinion.
It's not projection. Projection is saying how I feel and applying it, to somebody else.
Oh, that's not how you feel. I see. Okay, then I guess it's not projection. Puria, what's it like being the only albino over there? How many other? I just want to know how many albinos are
I know. is that well, we're allies. Years ago, and that was because during the Cold War, they complicated in that region of the world.
The Soviets tried. The Soviets tried.
Oh, of course they did. And so that was where like our original allyship, I would say, largely was. After that,
American. I mean, not. But it was really like the first real big, sort of formal alliance began after 1973. There was too much of the traditional sort of realpolitik saying these guys are never going to win.
Clinton, we can talk about a lot of presidents since
So let's go there. So let's talk about, go back in time, to the previous war, which is 1967. Okay, the Egyptians went to war with Israel when 40% of Egyptians were on American food aid in 1967. Americanism, which existed in the Arab states. Forms of government, which is exactly what the Soviets were, so they could cut deals with each other in the same ways that they wanted. And back then, I mean, there was still very much, and going back much farther than that, an American fantasy that you could like have conversations with them and say, you guys should really have elections, and like be how to run anything that they do. And socially and culturally speaking, they are very internally incapable of criticizing their own environments. So, you know, that definitely meant that they couldn't see that, you know, an alliance with America was what was in their interests. All the dictators in the Middle East, you know, wanted to hang with the Soviets. And that's what it was like for decades. And that was just one phase.
Yeah, but obviously the Soviets were playing them. Like they didn't want. They would only give them. They would make promises and give them free shit. But obviously, if they could take the power and control from them, they would stomp out any remnant of Islam. They were going to make you a very good citizen. I'm talking about like post-revolution, that their rhetoric will shift drastically after the revolution.
But the Arab really socialist, right? There was.
Gaddafi was bad. I think you agree that. They don't have a strong leader with the I guess you could say the type of I don't know, national unity that you would have seen before, which obviously having that intact would be more of a threat to Israel. But I do not see like what we're doing in the Middle East. I actually think we're causing far more problems.
Well, if we look at, you know, if we look at certainly Libya was not only an American intervention. I mean, it was an American and European intervention, and they bombed Libya for 7 months. You know, I'm not sure exactly what they thought was going to happen. Very. Depending on the states. But, you know, there was like a long-term historical bone to pick with Gaddafi in particular. You know, the so-called Spring, right, where they're all
that he had a door, basically, which is more of a concern, but basically freedom to protest, all of that shit, to and which is downfall, because that's exactly what this population did.
But, you know, there's just a significant and common misunderstanding among Westerners cultures like.
Well, no, I think one of the biggest misunderstandings is that we look at Middle Eastern cultures. They almost always need a whether they have a king.
The alternative, what ends up being, there's always there's always one tribe which ends up being the more powerful tribe, right? Like in Syria, the Alawites were the most powerful tribe because they imposed their power on everyone else.
And they were a minority, but they were a minority that protected the Christians and the terrorist, which this is what rubbed me the wrong way about his God, and then what are some of the first things that his people started doing?
Did you know the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
From a different region of the fucking world that come in there, they get rid of Assad, then they immediately start targeting the fucking Druze and the Christians, and I see Israel celebrating, because they got rid of Assad, but I'm looking at dude, they barely have any fucking Christians left there, and the Druze have
with the Syrian jails. So I mean, so look, when you have a situation where you have nothing but bad decisions,
given the leadership and what we have learned so far. And so there's a good possibility for that. But I wanted to go back to I want to kind of talk about this, the Arab Spring. What was the impetus and germane to this? I would say in terms of the genesis, the reason for the uprising, I think it seems to me, and Pepe might be correct on this, that kind of an appreciation of a secular representation. I think that would have a lot to do with uprising.
exception of one or two countries. And so that would be a good question to ask. I don't know enough why it didn't work out, but maybe we can talk about it. Daniel or Pepe, you can educate me on that. But I need to.
Well, I'll tell you something really quick. So the first event related to the Arab Spring was this event in Tunisia, right, where this guy lit himself on fire to protest the government. What a lot of people don't know was that a female police officer accosted the man and humiliated him, and that's why he burned himself alive. And that was the impetus moment that actually these places, right, which is just not really well understood, is clans really do matter in the Middle East. I mean, they matter in Palestinian society as well. It's clan first, always. So, you think of like, oh, there's the Palestinian territories, but really clan, and there is inter-clan warfare all the time. The news, right? They're constantly fighting each other, and there was violence all of the time. So, the only people who've been able to make it work in the clan system is the UAE. They deny autocracy, right? They are interested. And I think one of the big differences with the UAE is they have a lot of money, like a lot of money, right? They don't want to be really under the umbrella of the Chinese. They want to be under the umbrella of the United States in terms of security. And they've sort of figured out that that's what they want to do. So they've thrown their lot in with the West. And let's say these are the more powerful, stable states in the Middle East. So the Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, right, Oman, and apparently now Qatar. Although well, the Iranian in Qatar in particular, there are contracts that are 5 years out that are going to be broken because the damage is so severe, which means, pretty bad shit, right, for those guys, because they're not going to be able to make any money. So I don't know, but they're now saying, "Oh, America, please protect us," or now we're against Iran. I mean, the Qataris were like really close with the Iranians, and this isn't very well known, but the ruling family in Qatar is Persian, not Arab. I want to plant an idea in everybody's minds, okay? I want you to think for a second that there's no way that the U.S. government didn't know, okay, that the Iranians were going to do what they did in the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And that they expected this and they have let it go on. And I think you should ask yourselves, why did they let it go on? Like, why didn't they, create
will never defend those fucking people. But this war, do I think it's as cut and dry and as easy as Trump may, and of course the people, the talking puppets that like to say like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go in, we're just gonna like bomb them and kill Khomeini, and then there'll be while still allowing the IRGC to have power. We lost.
Yep.
And so the problem, though, is that Americans, I think, they are so apathetic towards us doing it. They would never buy into a mass military operation like what we saw in 2003 in Iraq. I don't know what are we going to actually do about it? Nothing really. And that's where I think
those are all interesting questions. Those are all interesting questions, but you didn't answer my question, which was why. Okay, so so my question is why would the United States want the closure of the Strait of Hormuz? Right, because there are because in the short term, right, the oil price has gone up significantly, and that is an issue among voters, right? That if costs go up by 30%, it's a big deal, right? Now, Jashan, I think it was who spoke, said it provides. Yeah.
Agree. The after effect will put us so far ahead of China that we won't have to fucking worry about them.
Right. Okay. So let's say. So I mean, let's put World War III aside, but let's just say
we're going to World War III.
Okay. Well, let's just leave that aside just for a moment. Okay. It absolutely creates a situation where there is a cost to China that they cannot control. That is true.
73% of their gas and oil.
Right.
55 from the Gulf states and 18% from Iran.
But there are other reasons that I think we should point to. Okay, the United States. Sure, fine, but the now whether it's Japan or China or South Korea or any of these countries, all of the empty VLCC tankers are all headed to the United States to go.
So I'm just gonna go ahead. So
make me a mod.
Oh, hold on. Oh, goddamn! Did I move him? Jesus Christ! I meant to.
Oh yeah, make Daniel mod.
Yeah, I was gonna make Daniel a mod. God damn it! I accidentally pushed you. Jesus.
Yeah,
I said my Lord's name in vain. I'm so
shut
angry.
up, you dirty mouth atheist.
Okay,
I only got this account because I got like 600.
I'll make Howard. I'll make Howard a mod. And then yep, amazing. I just I
can you make me a mod?
As mod.
Galaxy, shut the fuck up.
Make me a mod, my nigga.
Yeah, shut up. And so while I'm sleeping, or about to go to sleep, but that's what I'm going to do. And I truly don't really give a shit what happens to this room because I'm no longer taking part in it. So, but I'm going to be listening.
Assumption that Americans knew in their calculus of what this war could entail. One was the risk of the Strait of Hormuz being closed and causing devastation in terms of the energy supply and the rest of the stuff. Maybe they actually thought about it, and it's not possible to think that they were not aware of the political risk in terms of the stuff that you mentioned, actually, the oil prices.
Yeah, but it's not some conspiratorial thing where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna intentionally do this." I think when they're sitting around, they look at it and they go, "Okay, well, what if it goes this way? Okay, well, we win. Well, what if it goes this way? Okay, well, we win." So it's just a win-win situation. We either get the kill him and shit, and we implement a new regime in Iran, or they shut down the fucking strait and then we sell it at $140 a barrel.
Actually, I was going to go.
And cut China.
Yeah, I was going to actually talk about the scenario we just talked about, but maybe taking one at a time. One assumption is they fully calculated this ahead of time. And the calculation in terms of the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed by the Iranians. And then what that would entail X and Y and Z. The price is going up, inflation is going up, and also putting some pressure on our which they're not effectively not in a material way or substantially. And midterm election is also coming up. So those are kind of the risks that one assumes that they have calculated. But maybe not. We're just making an assumption. The other is, which you mentioned, is as we all know, the U.S. is energy self-sufficient, although we do have many pockets of import and exporting oil and LNG LNG, natural gas in the form of LNG, liquefied natural gas. We, at the minimum, at least there are about 6 or 8 terminals that are in construction right now to export natural gas in form of LNG to various places. So with this Strait of Hormuz being closed for some time, who knows for how long, then of course that provided boost to energy production. Oil, as somebody mentioned, going up to maybe 130, 140. And so these are possible scenarios, but one could not say for any level of certainty that that the Americans really, maybe they thought after they have military and the rest of it, as you know, and also assassination, killing all of the leaders, that perhaps the Iranians would not even last that long. So maybe they had the closure of the Strait of Hormuz on the risk list, but probably it was not on the top of the list. I don't know for sure fact. I don't know, but I think it is possible there could have been some minor, not minor, major miscalculation actually. So we go from, I'm going to land with this, from the absolutely calculated which is U.S. Producing a lot more natural gas and oil and exporting it. That's another kind of a scenario.
Let's not talk about how gorgeous Howard
Yeah,
is.
okay. Let's go back to the conversation. Let's go back to the conversation.
Has made them friends with people they shouldn't be, has made them dependents on people they shouldn't be dependents on.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild how Saddam in '98 switched over from the U.S. petrodollar to the euro, and then the day we took Baghdad, we switched it immediately back over to the U.S. petrodollar. But there's 3 elections in Iraq.
Just wanted to ask, the recent post on Trump, is this, can we dissect this as a heresy or blasphemy?
Are you talking about the Christian one?
Yeah.
So Trump person, but the amount of disrespect that he showed was but then,
Oh no, he said praise be to Allah.
Oh, shut up. Hold on. So, but then afterwards, he showed a picture of him as Jesus, and I posted at the top. This was something he posted. I went back to his Truth Social account, and to me, it's just like, really, like, what on God green earth do you think that even if it was you're trying to be funny, that is so bizarre.
Space the savior to the Iranians.
I mean, you were like, why not just put the happy merchant?
Of course, they're Jewish faggots. And then also,
shut up. Okay, I don't want.
No. I'm not.
Okay. Do I have to put people to the audience?
Yes,
Really not.
put the.
It's called what?
But in fact, I do believe he tried to say gerontocracy.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he didn't.
I'm just really amazed that
English is not commonly taught in the Arab world.
Okay, but when is a fucking Jew been this overtly disrespectful in America? I'm being serious. Where they post a picture where you have some Jew motherfucker has a picture of his fucking face as Jesus. Okay, after he trashes our fucking Pope. I don't.
No, he said he was insignificant. He added like a layer on top of it.
No, he said he was weak. He said we don't need to be peaceful.
Yeah, okay. Where do we have an American? Okay, fuck Netanyahu. He's not. Where we see them mocking Jesus in the way, in the fashion that Trump did. That is kind of like unprecedented. That is so fucking.
That's for you, Arafat.
Trump has no morality at all. He's there to simply have power and be
Wait, but I thought you were going to bed. I thought you were going to bed.
If anyone thinks
God,
that
so
he
you're gonna
has any
get
sort of
put together.
morality or Christianity or religious. Children. It's like watching children, say this, say that, say this, say that. It's not grounded in anything.
Sure, this is a real.
I love when Jews get into like Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism.
I don't think he cares about Christ one way or the other. Like it doesn't have a grounding.
I think if any of these politicians ever cared about Christ, they wouldn't be politicians.
Wait, we couldn't hear you. You're like coming in really low.
I said if any of these politicians ever
A
cared about
little louder.
Louder than that?
Yeah, like put your mouth right by the mic.
I can hear fine, just Sean.
Yeah, I can hear
maybe
him. Shut up.
Nargis was saying something serious. She's like, well, these politicians, they don't care about Christ. So what do you expect from Donald Trump? I mean, what you shouldn't expect saints. They're not. There's a whole lot of things they're not. So what do you expect from them? I mean, they're a kind of dog or, animalistic human being, just trapped in the struggle for power. They've made the struggle
These
for power
people, we give them
their
rights
life.
to defend us.
Okay, and
we give
that's
them right to defend
that's
us
what
and
they choose.
They
That's what
should
they
be
choose to
able
do.
leave.
That's how they end up in a role like that because of a kind of barbarism, of their character, of their soul. Say to that, was that a fair summary? Was that unfair?
This is their constituents' opinion, and they try to say things that, like, they lead the constituents in a way, try to say things that reverberate back to the constituents to increase their power and their influence. I think Trump's a little more unhinged and untethered than that. But at the end of the day, I don't think he has a moral grounding in Christ or a belief of that beyond his own power and influence.
Lama, do you think we should have that then?
Well, I don't really think there's a way to prevent it, because that's the nature of politicians. Like they have to find a popular cause, unless you elect someone based on their religious beliefs and you
to cultural roots, maybe religion too.
Trump is the right wing, Arafat. Donald Trump is the right wing.
So we're all abiding his own morals, huh? He's the man at the top.
He's the man with the top job in the government. He's not the man at the top of the society.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
That's why you should be very concerned about electing a leader, regardless of how much they align with your views or how competent of a manager you think they are, if they don't have a good moral grounding and ethical standards, because they'll ultimately end up using the power for their own purposes.
I've lost my confidence in democracy after this. Like, it's really sad. What is that system then?
Who lives in a democracy?
Say that again?
Who lives in a democracy?
That's what, yeah, exactly. Like, it's such a long.
Oh no, you said you lost faith in it. I said who actually lives under it?
I got your point. I'm just saying, like, as an ideal, it's so lofty. but it's quite disappointing. I think.
Why we don't live under one?
Well, look, Narjas, I'm sure you're familiar with the Winston Churchill quote on this particular point. You know, that democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. So, like, the ideal form of government. But think about what Arafat was saying earlier. You have a government where, you have religious figures who are picked, or people who have, or whatever. We had those governments for a long time. They were even worse. The government, the democracy in the U.S. managed to get the Democrats out of power. Okay, and the Democrats had become basically completely corrupt in their own. They were basically trying to handpick a president. Okay, they were trying to make Kamala be president. Even though Kamala could not even win their primary, they were trying to engineer this. Okay, and they got booted out. And that's that's democracy doing what it can do, which is democracy is not a good way to select policy. And which is why we don't have, democracy is not like everybody voting on the best shoe size or.
That our leaders to be person of character, with good moral compass and good, wise, and good sense of judgment and knowledge. But if you look at the Constitution, there are only 3 conditions for being a candidate for the presidency. Number 1, 35 years and older. Number 2, born in the United States. Number 3, has resided in the States, in the United States for 15 years, I think. Those are the 3 conditions. Nobody, the founding fathers, they do not have and perhaps another good one, that a man who rises to level of presidency, vice presidency, or a senator, or a representative of the people who that the person rising to this level would have some of really good attributes, that qualifies them without a question to lead us, the rest of us. And it
open-ended as possible. In fact, some in the country would even argue, not me, but some might argue that even the citizenship standard shouldn't exist. That it should just be of the people, by the people, regardless of the so-called qualifications or moral standing of those people, and it's a representative of the people, for good or bad.
Shit, some people would argue that we don't actually live under a democracy at all.
Well, I think it's just a level of degree of democracy, right? If we were in a real democracy, if we were serious about social security system, and then it records everyone's vote and with a unique identifier, so there can't be voter fraud. Or the voter fraud is much harder.
Constitutional federal republic. I thought that's what we lived under.
I mean, technically.
Yeah, but not a democracy.
Otherwise,
and what we have is also a kind of democracy. And so when Ali is talking about democracy, I understand what he means. Okay? And I'm not going to try to pick apart what he's saying or what other people are saying. Okay, what Narjus was saying. Okay. And that is, I don't think, a productive direction to go down. But Ali, I think your point maybe could be interpreted another way, which is that the founding fathers did not assume think that they would. And that's why they built a system of checks and balances. And what they had seen in the preceding several centuries of the English system qualifications are so readily abused, you just can't govern that way. You just can't make a just system doing that. It would be nice, but it's like passing a law against lying. How could you possibly enforce such a law? The kind of government that would enforce it would be incredibly draconian, right? And the judgments would ultimately be pretty arbitrary, And so it's nice if we don't lie, but we can't make a law about that. And it's nice if we have good leaders, but I don't think the founding fathers saw them A, as our leaders, or B, as necessarily good.
And whatever that the outcome might be, it may entail somebody very clever, good politician, maybe a wise man, but immoral guy. In terms of, let's say, what is the immorality? Not having, some could say, not having any kind of a religious underpinning. Number one, who could be having affairs, or it could have, marrying and divorcing many times. It could be so many other things, which I think in the U.S. for some reason people put too much value on these types of behaviors, which in Europe, and other places, in Latin America, other countries, the leaders are well liked when they are a little bit keep it as simple as possible. Yeah, that's it.
Pepe, Howard, are you all awake? Earth to Pepe, Earth to Howard.
Ali, I think though you're onto something, because I think in the last 20, 30 years, maybe slightly longer in the United States, there has been, I think, a moral righteousness of the president, right? Like we think
more negative outcomes and less positive outcomes. And I don't mean to be saying this in a moral judgment value. Just the way, like, does the system really cater to the well-being of the collective, right? So we forgave Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky and the blowjob. Can we forgive the Epstein files? I think that could be a good question.
Pepe, there's a black man breaking into your apartment right now. He's there to murder you.
What the electorate focuses on. And the electorate is just focused on the wrong stuff. And it really has a lot to do with our norms and how we here, okay? Because educated people can coordinate around a message, and they do. And right now, they are spending all their time talking about the president they do not like, right? Which is missing the point entirely of how the government is supposed to work.
Well, it seems the educated people are the most polarized now.
Well, educated people are often the most polarized. The question is, what are they polarized about? Another group that can make a big difference is women. Women can get very organized and very socially coordinated, aligned, very rapidly. Okay, this is also an avenue. Okay, and unfortunately, many women are. Your actual representative's job is to do something about Trump. And you're gonna ask, what are those guys doing?
Do you think the average Republican is anti-Trump? Do you think there's?
I would say substantial failure in terms of the policymakers, as the Senate and the Congress, in terms of coming up with policies, for example, immigration, which has been on hold for decades. So what will happen then? Naturally, there's a shift of power to the executive branch, and then So now we end up, to your point, Lama, hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, that the three branches of government, now we are in a situation we actually have a super branch, which is the Supreme Court. So chief justices. To not to either consciously or subconsciously not bring in some of those underpinning balances between the three branches of government. But actually, the checks and balances are more thorough than that. There are checks and balances between the state responsibility and the federal government. And then we have checks and balances between the Senate and the Congress and the House of Representatives. And there's checks and balances there, as you know, how they pass their policy. And there are other checks and balances, at least 3 or 4 of them, which in principle, they should be effectively control or manage the situation so it does not tear, it does not kind of destroy itself.
Is in terms of a separation of powers and a duplication of functions. So all the parts of the government have the capacity to stand in informally when the part of the government that is supposed to do a certain job is not doing it. So, you know, the Congress can set up all kinds of committees to figure out how certain things should be done, even though notionally the executive is supposed to figure out how to do what Congress wants. But Congress can and does set up committees, and they come up with engines to steer the plane. That's not good for the engines. Okay? It makes the way the plane flies very weird, and the way it gains speed and all that kind of stuff. But it does mean the plane is able to get home, and that's not a bad thing. And this is where I think that so many people are making a mistake. Is what the healthy response of the system? They're treating it like it's sickness, but it's not sickness. This is the healthy response to this in the system.
Tutorial system, right? That we're calling out for that become, because we're putting all our eggs in that basket of legislature, and rightfully so, right? I think that starts to be concerning, maybe.
The legislature, if it becomes a soft dictatorship, it can be voted out. It's very hard to coordinate control of the legislature. And what has happened here is not that we have a soft dictatorship in the legislature, okay? It's that we have a relatively inactive legislature. And we have an inactive legislature because all this time leadership. But I could imagine I'm going to imagine two things along those lines, okay? And then I think you'll see how different they are from anything that anybody is talking about, even considering. Okay, one is that the legislature simply strips the executive branch of all of its powers and starts to administer the government itself. And so, if something doesn't go the way they want to in terms of law enforcement, they got rid of the courts, so they shut them down, or they made the courts part of the legislature, right? So that's another way, right? But
Yeah, agreed. I actually do like the way you think because I think it's grateful, right? Because we have complained a bit much. However, like I know this is really bad equivalence when we start with whataboutery, right? And we start to see, well, there are other governments who also call themselves democratic, and we've done fine. Comparatively, we've not been the best.
Right? If the way you evaluate the U.S. government is you say, well, the United States is very bad compared to what I on the capability of people to solve. And that is the kind of lack of focus that leads either to getting nothing done or leads to terror. Actually, it leads to people trying to impose all kinds of solutions on people that are completely unnecessary.
I don't think in the recent past we've conducted ourselves very ethically. Like, I really don't think we have done that. And I'm being very generous here. We have really been like quite a bit of quite tyrannical outside of ourselves to certain people and certain places. I think perhaps because of maybe just leadership or ignorance of these regions, not understanding that perhaps democracies do not work in every system, right? For example, much of the Middle East, minus Iran, works well with tribalism and always has, right? They've conducted themselves in such a way within tribes that a lot of progress. Think about these things also.
Yeah, I think you will find many thoughtful, not many, but you'll find a few thoughtful analysts in the U.S. government saying the same thing, or analysts who were formerly in the U.S. government saying the same thing. And I think that's basically right. There's no reason to impose our ideas about good government too narrowly, about the ideal form of government too narrowly on people. And certainly no reason to impose them too quickly. You know, I firmly believe, I think you know the scene in Apocalypse Now where the man says, inside every goop is an American waiting.
No, I forget.
This is a famous scene where they're asking and it just has no impact on right? And the commander says, inside every gook is an American waiting to get out. That's why we're fighting, okay? Because inside everyone is an American. And I believe that's true. But I don't think that needs to happen, this year, right? And I do think that there are timeless lessons. I guess a less comical way to say what that man was saying is that there are timeless lessons embedded in the system of government, and everyone has to come to the realization of those, and we'll live in a better world. Or like Saudi Arabia, okay, which is a monarchy, right? And like an Islamic monarchy or something like that, okay? And Israel, which we have very little to say about the way the Israeli government is structured. If Israel had been like our other allies, the leftists would have been killed a long time ago. Okay, we would have gotten the right to exterminate the leftists, I don't know, in the 70s or the 80s maybe. And we have never done it, okay? And it's full of leftists. I still think Netanyahu should kill all of them. But, there are, and Vietnam, okay? We actually get along very well with Vietnam and have good trade relations.
Why don't you like the leftists? Why?
But the leftists are very bad for your country. They are very disloyal. Okay, they weaken the defense establishment, security and law enforcement. Okay, they bring in drugs. They bring in foreign saboteurs. Leftists just don't have any common sense. And frequently, to have a secure society at all, you have to kill all of them. Sometimes more than once. Okay?
Oh yeah.
And that's what Taiwan had to do. That's what South Korea had to do. Okay, and after you get to a secure state of society and law and order, okay, fine, you don't have to kill them anymore. But
yeah, do you
and
think
maybe Israel got. So there you go.
Jason, do you think morals change over time?
No.
That big, but I'm just gonna say, can we link that to gerontocracy? Because if you think about it, these people are influenced in their own past. Because I believe morals change over time, right? Example, like the age of consent. Example in Delaware, I think it was 7. But now, of course, morals change, times change. We adjust to society. So my stance is that throughout time, think we should have maybe a system, maybe a age limit, I guess. Because like there's actually serious things to discuss about this, like cognitive decline, lower reactions time, medical issues. I saw a video. This is real, by the way. Donald Trump, out of the helicopter, couldn't even walk straight on a red carpet. And these people are in power.
Look, Arafat, I can't tell you more than once that I disagree with you. And I'm just going to be repetitive. But the people voted for this person. I mean, they have a right to do it. They have a right to the representative that they want.
Yeah. A lot of contradictions he made, the things he promised or the things he said and the things he says now. But end of story, you're right. We chose it.
So 2 points. You quickly here. You do not have to be an old person actually to make bad decisions and do crazy things. I mean, there are younger politicians that they do horribly a bad job. That's number one. Number two, again, in order what you're suggesting to happen, an age limitation, upper age, for selecting a leader, let's say the president or senators, that's requires absolutely a constitutional amendment for this to happen. I'm not suggesting this is good or bad, but it requires a constitutional amendment, so there's no way around it. And there are requirements for the senators, Congress. Approval. And if he signs, as you all know, then it policy goes into effect. If not, it goes back to the legislative branch with probably some recommendations from the executive branch that what else should be added or taken out of the policy for the president to sign it. If the legislative branch do not agree, they have the supermajority, 2/3, I think, they could veto of the president and pass. There are pretty robust checks and balances are in place to kind of and on the other side, the president is responsible for electing all of the cabinet members, the Supreme Court. A confirmation process through Senate for the president's nominees to be confirmed or rejected by the Senate. For example, take and I'm just not going to talk about that right now. But the reason, well, let me just give an example. For example, in Minnesota, I'm not going to talk about my position on ICE or anything like that, but I'm going to talk about when there is an intrusion of checks and balances. So 2 Minnesotan citizens were killed by ICE. Cases like this, almost always, there is a collaboration, a teamwork between the federal government and the state state has repeatedly has asked to either get involved or get some information from the federal government in terms of their knowledge about the case and not be passed on to the state. So here we see the break of the checks and balances between the state and the federal government in a kind of a glaring way, I mean, pretty obvious way. Now it's taken to the or probably it will go to the Supreme Court in terms of the kind of establishing, here the intrusion of the or bypassing or not respecting the system of it's a fairly robust principle, and it will withstand the challenges coming from any direction, actually, and in terms of the branches of government.
Agreed. When I was younger, I was more feisty and would find every little thing to like point a finger at any system, especially one that is like generously democratic, like the US. The older I'm getting, I'm like, it's not that bad, for God's sake. Like, what is this Westophobia? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, what are you putting out there? And yeah, we don't act well outside of our freaking little home called America. We are brutal. We are. It's being more and more transparent, right? With capitalism comes greed. With greed comes self-interest, and that's exactly what we're doing. It is what it is, unless you want to change that system to some moral code. Sure, I mean, bring it on. Bring a better system so that we can apply it. Other than that, this is the entailment of such a system. Can we be better than this? Absolutely. Can we call it out? Absolutely. But can we also be grateful maybe sometimes? Yeah, we can.
Jason, please go ahead. I wanted to make just a very quick comment. Just a comment. So you mentioned that capitalism brings
Actually, the English theoreticians, some of them said more or less there is no freedom without property. Every right is rooted in property. All liberty is rooted in property. And there is a way to show to make that argument that's pretty robust. So actually, if you try to find an alternate foundation for a just society, you won't be able to. And the intuition here is like, well, if I have freedom of speech, but the government can just take my food because I don't have entitlement to property, then what good is my freedom of speech? And this argument does extend in certain lines of thinking to our arms. And so I hope you will you know, and like if you just had democracy in the sense that everyone can vote. The cash seizures, the contraband seizures that the government frequently conducts, you know, to just kick them out and say, no, this is not your business. The truth is, I don't know. I've never seen it decided. I don't know what law would say one way or the other, like which is there. And maybe it's something where the legislature should have acted a long time ago to preserve the rights of the states.
Yeah, that is actually a good case. As I mentioned, I think the lawsuit, something has been filed by the state of Minnesota in terms of challenging the federal government's approach to this case, and probably will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I was just looking for this as you were talking. the United States this now in the case of Minnesota, is this the authority of the power of the state of Minnesota saying, look, 2 of our citizens were killed, and we are responsible. We have constitutional responsibility and authority to actually look into this matter and decide and investigate whether the DICE individuals were guilty of this, and having a grand jury on it, and to conclude, this ought to be a case or not. State, then it gets always a team investigation. Misconstrued, actually, that these are the only rights people have and no more. They had to pass the Constitution, ratify it, the Bill of Rights, as soon as they could, so they get the 13 colonies on board and move on. So in the Amendment 9, Madison being very concerned about this in terms of these are not the only rights people have. So here is what it says. It says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed
Right. So broadly. And this is actually an area where some argue the Constitution has become very weak, or the practice of the Constitution has become very weak. Because now the federal government can say all kinds of stuff, like what you can do inside of a post office. Yeah, there's many, many domains where the government jurisdiction or primary decision making power. Would seem to overlap. And that is something that has occurred relatively recently, probably the last 120 years. Right, this vast expansion of what the federal government decides and its involvement in our day-to-day lives. So the 10th Amendment, unfortunately, doesn't, at least that reading of it, or a reasonable, a forward reading of it, doesn't really help us to know what the federal government can and can't get away with in a situation. I'm wondering how to research that.
Yeah, maybe, but I think in this case, I would say for sure the way I read it, the ideology, in politics, economics, in religious, and in all kinds of fields of human activities, the execution of those principles is always would fall short of the full intent of the principle itself. So it is expected that when then these things are executed, for example, the understanding, recognition of powers of those, and in principle, there are they may not be clear at times or stepped over, and it's difficult to. California or whatever the state is. Now, I'm just wondering if there would be any challenge, hypothetically, from the states saying, look, if the federal government planes or the commercial planes states, we have a say about that. And that would be kind of, hypothetically, in the kind of really slightly progressive technologies, ideas, and the legal system make an attempt to kind of to see exactly what the Constitution has to say about it in a very broad sense, and then we'll interpret there are correct or interpret it according to the Constitution. Now, people may interpret it differently, but certainly it has to have the constitutional authority for it. Otherwise, it's just not going to stand.
I know that's what it sounds like, right? But I'm saying, as a practical matter, there are domains of federal authority and federal.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes,
that scope way beyond what you would see there. So, like, if we try to find, like, so for example, in this situation with Minnesota and HS, it's not even clear this question has been asked before, right? So it's not even clear there is a legal answer. Generally, the federal government cooperates with the states on things like this. So it doesn't come. And a lot of these kinds of things are like, we don't know the answer really until there is a case about it. But there is definitely a broader trend of the federal government having more and more power, far more power than appears to be delegated by the Constitution, at least at first glance. But there are ways that the courts have historically interpreted, delegated by the Constitution to mean like, well, basically like any power directly delegated, but also any power which the government obviously needs to do the job that the is not the operative standard. legislature has been very uncreative in responding to those changes and done a very poor job of remodeling the house, as it were, to keep it up to date, to keep things ship shape, right? You know, putting in a new roof when you need a new roof, and, you know, changing the way the plumbing is when the plumbing systems change, you know. So, you know, the house keeps its character and charm, but, you know, is a fully functional house with which you can easily get repaired and so on. And they have not really been doing that. And that in a sincere and thoughtful way. And that's what we kind of need to be pressuring them to do. They have to do something, right? The legislature doesn't have to do anything if they don't want to. It's kind of sad, but they don't.
Can hypothetically or maybe an immigration policy. I mean, a broad immigration policy addressing all of the immigration issues, which this Congress has failed miserably in the last 50 years to address it, or maybe 40 years. And it's been taken predominantly by the legislature, by the federal government, by the executive branch, which immigration is the business of the federal government. But in terms of
sympathetic to the prevention of abortion, then the case will go before a judge, and that judge will find in favor of the state. They will say, well, this is not against the universal abortion law because, you know, we don't find that this law prevents good faith efforts on the part of the legislature to protect the health of the mother. And it's fine. Okay. But okay, let's say, all right, then another case comes up. Past the first judge, and it makes it past the panel, and they can ask for another panel, I think. But then they decide, okay, we're going to do an en banc hearing. Okay, everybody in the circuit is going to decide. And then they will generally say, no, it's fine. It doesn't violate this or that law because of this, that, or this other reason. Okay? And a law against a law First Circuit, and then in the Second Circuit, they say it's constitutional. You never get the circuit split. So the Supreme Court is very unlikely to take the case because the places where they accept that constitutional right, they don't pass laws against it. And the places where they don't accept that constitutional right, well, their circuit supports them, right? So you never get the circuit split. So, or it takes a very long time to get the circuit split. Okay. Because this is exactly what and this is exactly why there are so few Supreme Court decisions about it. Because in the circuits where they care about the right to bear arms, they don't pass these laws in those states. So there never is any ruling about it. And in the circuits where they have a problem with the right to bear arms, well, the judges agree with them.
Jason, you're not concerned about children, like smaller children, teenagers, because of the arms. Like that would be. See, I learned how to shoot when I was very, very young. My dad took me to the range. I learned the pistol. I learned the air gun. So it's not new. It's not that I'm afraid of it. It's just that I think when parents
is like everything California has done is illegal. There can't be magazine limitations, limiting pistols to this roster, whatever else. Okay, the assault weapons ban. Okay, and the thing is, once in a while, you even get a judge in the Ninth Circuit who says it's illegal, but you get one. And then there's an en banc hearing, or there's a panel of 3 judges, and they decide, no, it's fine. Okay. And what I'm trying to describe here is the way that you have a constitutional right on paper, but as a practical matter, the states have a lot of capacity, or localities, okay, really the circuits have a lot persuade you And because I mean, even if you feel like the right to bear arms is a bad idea, I think you will agree it's still in the Constitution.
Yeah.
You know, okay, and the way that some states interpret that, it's actually almost impossible to bear arms, like Massachusetts, and for some time, and Massachusetts, and one or two, Hawaii, okay. And the way it was interpreted in New York City for a long time, it was basically impossible to bear arms. And, you know, and then you have like a rainbow of options in between that and Texas, okay, where, I mean, if you read it,
He is responsive. He's responsive.
Oh, you're here.
I'm here.
Brock, what's going on, bro? We're having a good
I'm
conversation.
good. I'm just trying to see what Jason was talking.
So Brooke, if you don't mind, let me.
Oh
just,
God. Here we go.
We'd like to hear what you have to say, but
I don't give a really.
I don't want anything from. Did you notice that Jason?
Oh my God, you're so in control. Okay, well then if you are in control, then you should know how to calm people down.
Well,
do that.
There was no calmness on the stage. People were talking.
All right, let's do.
Right here, man. Don't worry.
Right here.
So yeah. Good. So,
Okay.
thank you.
So let's do it. Let's do it like together.
So what is your suggestion?
No. So you want to take control? Okay. So what do you want from me?
Okay, Brock, what's his question?
No. No third person.
What I want from you. Here's what I want from you.
What do you want from me?
What I want you to do.
Tell me, brother.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I would like you to allow Jason.
Tell me to shut up.
Conversation.
Because I'm not.
And so you ask me what I want you to do. If you want to speak for me, then why are you asking a question?
I'm not asking.
If you're asking me a question, what do you want?
Tell me what you want me to do.
I want you to.
And I will do it.
Wait. Okay then. Thank you.
Wait.
I want you to not interrupt my discussion with Jason. Let us.
Okay. So you're telling me to shut up?
No, I'm not telling you.
All right.
Brooke,
then here we go.
All due respect.
All right. Here we go.
So Ali,
I told you that.
Man.
So
all right, brother. I'm just been trying to tell you, man, that you can just tell me to shut.
It's
no.
This
Ali,
dude.
Brock,
Bro, it's not
Ali
block.
and I-
No, you can call me by name. I don't give a fuck.
What do you
I
wanna be called?
don't care.
Well, Ali and I. I was explaining something
You're not
to
gonna.
Ali,
That's
and I
fine.
wanted to hear what Ali has to say about it. Would that be a
Okay,
problem?
well, I want to hear from Ali, but that last shit, not cool.
Ali doesn't want to
Well,
talk to you.
I want to hear from Ali, and that's it. And then after that, nothing else.
But then you're asking me.
You're entering a world that you don't want to enter.
Oh, really? What is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, really?
What is that?
Oh,
that would be.
Okay, so you're over the top of me. Whatever. I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care where you're from.
Not important enough for me to take over.
You. Fuck you. Fuck you. You are nobody.
Well,
you're
I'm gonna
probably.
start a new room.
You are probably
I'm
from
gonna
LA,
start a
or
new
New
room.
York City, or
Okay,
somewhere
invite you
else
both to it.
bigger than me. I don't
Okay,
care.
I'll invite you both in.
Fuck
Alright,
you.
one second.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go ahead, Ali. It's always been that way. What's up, Lolly? What's up, Lolly? And we got Sword. Yo, Alistair, you got it, man.
Well, hard. Get into an argument with other what we might call retards. It doesn't really matter though whether you think they were retards or not. You are now listening to the supreme retard of all the retards. And in a supreme retard. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Jason literally just talked for about an hour and a half straight, and then what's his face also talked for a long time. Then Brock came in drunk and crashed out. Pepe's sleeping. Poor little Pepe. Pepe's dreaming of Pepe World. What would Pepe World? You're gonna do what you're fucking told. Pepe's in charge. But we're gonna close out this room with a little music. I hope you like. This is John Kitover.
First be clear to you. Which are valuable to all men in their ordinary avocations, so that in no case will your time have been wasted. That you may gain some insight into the nature of the great work which lies beyond these elementary trifles. However, we should mention that an intelligent person may gather more than a hint of its nature from the following books, which ought to be taken as serious and learned contributions to the study of nature.
You broke the rules. I don't like what you had to say. I'm censoring you. My feelings are important. Cognitive security is so important. Oh. Somebody sent me a message. Somebody sent me a message. Does anybody want to come up and say anything? Because I'm going to play some music, brush my teeth. I'm going to use my water pick. Then I use my tongue scraper. I'm going to use my brush and my toothpaste and my dental floss. That's right. A lot of moving parts to brushing your teeth. As we know, not a lot of people here on Clubhouse brush their teeth. They just go to sleep and they think Clubhouse can brush their teeth as they're sleeping. Have you ever heard somebody here say, oh,
Every word a tiny mirror asking, who are you? Really? Spamming a silver suit. Politics in painted shoes. Comedy juggling our fears are tracing halos on them. All communication is hypnosis. Every sentence swings a line. You can call it love or persuasion. Both are reaching in the night. All communication is hypnosis. From a whisper. You persuasion in the last coat, informative, kind of glowing. Here's a future you could live. Hey, if you let it in your bloodstream. All communication is hypnosis. Every sentence swings a light. You can call it love
Oh, we have Narges. Is Narges here? Did she just come in for?
Every thought in your orbit singing, you are something new. All communication is hypnosis. Every sentence swings a line. You can call it love or persuasion or far-reaching in the night. All communication is hypnosis, and if every word's a spell, I'll keep casting time. Futures waiting right, and you are
New song that I co-produced with Pockets. Many of you know Pockets here on this app, aka Pussy Pockets, the annoying, hyper-polarized political pussy pocket.
pure heart, and the serpent flame therein. Thou shalt come a little to lie in my bosom. For one kiss wilt thou then be willing to give all. But whoso gives one particle of dust shall lose all in that hour. Ye shall gather goods and store of women and spices. Ye shall wear rich jewels. Ye shall exceed the nations of the earth in splendor and pride. But always in the love of me, and so shall ye come to my joy. I charge you earnestly to come before me in a single robe and covered with a rich headdress. I love you. I yearn to you. Pale purple velvet.
Oh, welcome, El Normo. This is the Pepe Show. This is my wind down before I go to sleep for the night. If there's something you want to say, just raise your hand. Otherwise, we're listening to a song that I co-produced with Pockets, aka Pussy Pockets, the polarized R word here on Clubhouse.
Watson Siddhartha and Krishna and Tahuti, Moshe Dionysus Mohammedan to Megatherium. With these also Hermes, Pan, Priapus, Osiris and Melchizedek, Chem and the Moon and Mentu, Heracles, Ilias, Catullus, and Holy Bard, Apollonius Tianius, Simon Magus, Manes, Pythagoras, Basilides, Valentinus,
Bardesigns and Hippolytus, that transmitted the light of the Gnosis to us, their successors and their heirs, with Merlin, Arthur, Camaret, Parzival, and many another. Priya and Emporio VII, Fet, priest and king that bore the lance and cup, and these also Carolus Magnus and his paladins, with William of Shiren, Frederick of Hohenstaufen, Roger Bacon,
slow motivate.
watermelon mango, yellow orange.
He kneel adore. Oh Lord, this sacrifice of life and joy, true warrants of the covenant of resurrection. Kisses the priestess between the breasts and makes 3 great crosses over the paten. The cup itself, he Hear ye all, saints of the true church of old time, now essentially present, that of ye we claim airship, with ye we claim communion, from ye we claim benediction in the name of Thou